Morning, Leanne.
Morning, Sarah and everyone.
Morning, Tita.
Yeah, I can only listen in today, so.
Okay. Always good to know you're there.
Yeah, but Sarah, I really enjoyed the discussion last Monday. That made me have, put in effort to have to come in and listen every Monday.
Anything in particular you would like to listen to today?
No, I was thinking of asking a question, but I need to go back and look and listen to that particular thing again, to make sure that I understand or I do not understand a certain point, and then I'll come back and ask maybe another time.
What was the topic about?
Basically, it was the discussion last Monday that I thoroughly enjoyed a lot of things, a lot of questions, from area development to Intriya, Bala, and then also question about Ayatana, and Tam's question about the proximate cause of sati, which actually,
sati, yes.
A lot of good points. Yep. But I'll ask another time. Today I might just listen.
It's good to hear what you found useful anyway.
Thank you.
The point about proximate cause is one that many people wonder about. And actually I came across, we were editing some earlier discussion, and I came across the same question that someone had asked a year or two ago. And everyone thinks of proximate cause as being something that has to come before the result, or if I can use that word, but it can be, and it is a co-arising factor. So the proximate cause, the factor that is the proximate cause arises at the same time as the understanding of which it is the proximate cause.
Yes,
that's the main point there.
It was really eye-opening, that point that you made. And I would imagine a lot of people would have that, misunderstood.
Because we all start with the idea that there's something that needs to be done before awareness or understanding can arise.
Yep.
And so when we hear proximate cause, we think, oh, it must be the concentration that is needed for there to be awareness or understanding.
Yeah. Like a lot of people think, oh, you need to have sila first before samadhi and then panya. That's what I've been told the whole way. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Sean, for pointing out that.
Yeah.
Sawadee-ka.
Sawadee-ka, Pachan.
Sawadee-ka.
Morning, Tom and Bev. Morning.
Hello from Park City, Utah.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom and Bev.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Bev.
Hello. We're in Park City, Utah, not in New Hampshire.
Oh, I see. Utah, right. It took me a minute to make the connection. Utah is not New Hampshire. What are you doing? What are you doing in Utah?
Chaperoning our granddaughter.
Oh, I see. Oh,
and
good.
our grand dog. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Are you in a country area of Utah?
No, it's a Park City. It's a big ski area, biggest ski area.
Oh, I see.
And very, very un-Utah-like.
Oh, okay. Metropolis in Utah.
Yeah. Beautiful desert. But
yeah. And what's the season there right now?
It's coming on to winter.
Yeah.
Within the month, they'll have, I was here in April and there was, I don't know, a foot of snow in the ground. Yeah.
In April.
Yeah.
Warm days and cool nights.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Nice.
And just at the end of the discussion last week, I think, just at the end of the discussion last week, I think you and Tom just came in briefly at the end, and Roti had just started mentioning about speaking to his friend who was meditating and ways of helping and considering. So I don't know if any of you want to pick this up a little bit more. Roti or Tom or Bev or anyone? Did you speak?
I think meditating has such a loaded meaning, and it means so many things to different people, you know. And I think sometimes when you think of, sometimes when Ajahn talks about listening and considering, I mean, that's some kind of meditating too. I mean, we have to consider listening to the teachings and with wise attention. So in some ways, you could classify that as meditating, thinking about the Buddha's words with wise attention.
I think it's also helpful to ask people what they mean. Like the other day, I was having a discussion with a young lady, and we had quite a long discussion about different realities and life. And at the end, she said, "Oh, and do you meditate?" So I just asked her, what do you mean by meditating? Can there be meditating right now? We're standing out by the beach and having this discussion. What about at this moment? What is meditation? Because as you say, it's a loaded word, and people so everyone has their own idea.
What was her response?
She actually paused and she considered, and she said, well, yes, maybe even when I'm swimming, there can be meditating. I said, that's the point, because the realities we've been discussing about, the seeing, the hearing, and the thinking, are at this moment or that moment or any moment. So there can be the beginning of understanding or meditating right now. So I think sometimes it's helpful to bring it back just to this moment.
Yeah, I think
whatever. I was going to say,
John.
whatever the idea one has of meditation, well, the common factor is for all understandings of meditation that involves doing something deliberately as a kind of exercise or practice or something like that. Whereas when we talk about hearing the Dhamma and considering what one has heard and wise attention, these are all things that may happen, but are not happening as a result of doing something.
Yeah. I thought there were wise words that you used in Bev, as it is a loaded word, and it's I'll just briefly, it comes, the Pali word is bhavana, of course, and it comes from a causative verb, bhavati, to make, become, and we've got this idea now of meditation, which has been interpreted in many ways, in all sorts of ways, which really don't relate necessarily to the Buddha Dhamma at all. And bhavana literally means to make, become, to grow in always kusala, which many people are not familiar with at all. You know, really, what is truly skillful, and perhaps that'd be a good point to bring in Tanajan as to how we can grow in kusala more and more, and if you like, meditate, because it has been, I believe, horribly misunderstood, and people have just gone along with what the other says and have not stopped and considered. And I think Jonathan made a good point about people have really also been captured by the idea of doing something, which really is not in keeping with the idea of what bhavana, I believe, truly is.
And also, I think that when one points out to people that it doesn't depend on the posture one's in, like if one's standing by the beach rather than sitting cross-legged, or if one's eyes are open rather than closed. This has nothing to do with the development of bhavana or the development of understanding. And I think people can begin to appreciate that. But as you've both pointed out, the strong idea of doing something is so deeply rooted and is a real obstacle to understanding what bhavana is or how it is this moment, not I or self or anyone doing anything.
Well, I think people can get the idea of posture-free meditation, but they would still think of doing something. So while swimming, you know, it would be focusing on such and such, or thinking about this, or
Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
one form of exercise or practice or another, even though there's no particular, whatever the posture.
No, I think that's a good point, John, that people would, when asked that question, they would still translate that to mean something that they still need to do or to focus on, as you, I believe, alluded to in some measure. And it's, I don't think, easy to get out of that train of consideration. And it's only with good friends, I think, and especially in my case, when I think of Tanajan, really asking questions. And of course, it will depend upon the person's accumulations, whether or not they're, able or willing to ponder and consider further. And that's, as we know, will depend on all sorts of other conditions.
Even when we mention listening or considering, it can be the idea of I listening or I considering or I joining a Zoom discussion, not the understanding of reality right now. Roti, did you want to add anything further about your discussion? Or anything? We can't hear you, Roti.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Well, I cannot think about anything right now. I like the comments you just made, you and Sundara. I agree with them. And yeah, this thing about doing always, it's like a very strong statement, I find, right? Like realizing that it's something that it's like instinct, no? So deep. And it's like all we know, it's the only thing we know, really. It's the only thing we can do almost, in general in life, like always making this effort with the idea of somebody behind it, right?
Yeah, I agree, Watty. I think it's become a kind of a virus, another kind of virus that's out there and that's inveigled its way into the Buddha Dhamma as well. And I think what Sarah said was true, that to rid, in the background, there's always the idea of, atta, directing the show somehow. And it's not easy at all to step outside of that. And again, I guess it comes down to people like Tanajan and all our friends to help us keep us true to the present moment, which is, I think, not an easy thing, but with ongoing wise consideration that we've all kind of alluded to, I guess, in some manner, that truth is able to be respected in the beginning anyway, or we're able to make a slow start to dismantling this incredible edifice of ignorance, which seems to be so predominant and prevalent in the world and in our own lives, of course.
And Sundara, wouldn't you say that the way we are able to recognize and point out to people, to meditators, how wrong they are, the same way the people during the Buddha's time, when they heard the Dhamma, they immediately understood that it's about what's happening right now. Whereas we keep on listening for so many years and we still don't get it. So to them, we are like what meditators are to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, you keep going, Sarah, keep going.
I was just going to say, and yes, it's actually not them and us, because it has to come back to understanding dhammas now. And if there's no considering and hearing about the different realities of life now, there will always be thinking about different situations or different ways of doing things. So if there's no understanding of what seeing is now, what hearing is now, there will always be the idea of another place, another time, another way, or something to do. So for everyone, it has to come back to understanding more about the realities that make up life right now.
And I think too, Kunsuken, is that in the Buddha's time, there wasn't such, yes, there were many different levels of misunderstanding that people no doubt had about what development and about what truly panya was. But of course, they were incredibly blessed with having a Samma Sambuddho around, not easily accessible, but there to point to people many ways about what really was wrong view and how unfortunately dangerous it can be. Whereas today there is, as we know, many people, and even in robes, who continually point to a path that we have gradually begun to appreciate is what is more helpful. They point to another way, which can add to a lot more confusion. And of course, that wouldn't have happened in the Buddha's time. Even people in yellow robes pointing, in a way that's not helpful. So we're and of course, I know that I myself too was in that trap, as I think many of us can identify with that too. So there are always many different variables and many different conditions. But I think what Sarah's alluded to there too is that it's really important, as much as conditions allow, that we don't have this kind of us and them divide. And I really appreciated Alberto's comments online just a moment ago. I was looking at it about how we view the others as selves too. The other is often viewed as self too. So this can be unhelpful, and the more we can, respect truth in that way, the better.
And I think even in the Buddha's time, there were many wrong teachings, many teachers teaching the wrong path, the wrong way. But it depends on the accumulation of understanding when one listens to what is right and what is wrong, whether there is the right considering and reflection to appreciate what is right and develop what is right. Because it's easy to blame the wrong teachers, but actually it comes back to the understanding when one hears what can be verified as being true, or whether one just follows what is the wrong way.
Tanajanka, what do you think about? I would be really interested to hear about what you feel about these matters.
I think that one has to consider carefully. Otherwise, one gets lost. For example, what is the most interesting thing in life or now? See, you don't have any idea about that at all. just listen and think a lot about many things. But what is the real point, which is so very interesting, so very useful? It's now at this moment, see? Because otherwise, just live from moment to moment until death. No understanding of what is there from moment to moment at all. Is it worthwhile just to live just like that and then forgot everything? Never thought about anything which has gone at all. New life, new personality, new world. So, and the world is just like this. It appears, no one can stop what is now appearing, because what is it is not known yet. That's why to understand the truth, what is there? Why is there, which can be understood? And this is the most valuable moment in life. Doesn't let go that with wrong understanding or ignorance and cling as usual, because that can be known. Is this interesting? Is this very precious thing in life? Just to understand, different from a moment when there is no understanding any of what is there now at all in life, from life to life. So anyone who just talk about the value, the precious moment of being able to understand that which is there moment to moment, all day, all life, is it not better just to have the understanding of what is there, not just follow it with wrong understanding and clinging, and what is the use of it? The end of life, nothing more. Ignorance is there from life to life. That's why I think that it depends on considering wisely what is the most benefit of value moment in life. Is it not this moment, just that it appears and there can be some understanding, the truth of it, which is hidden quite a long time ago. So how can it be revealed instantly as Buddha had enlightened and taught? That's why beginning to study, to understand the value, the precious moment of beginning to understand that, listen, to understand the truth of that which is there, which doesn't show up as it is at all. Listen carefully just to understand. And that is the meaning of bhavana, developing that vision which hasn't developed yet to understand the truth of that which is now appearing. That's why listening carefully, what for? Just to understand the truth of each which appears as it is, not self. Why? Because it's there only when it's there and then gone forever, never to return again. So it's time to understand that which is there as so very short. But the truth of it is that it's not anything, it's not anyone. It is just a reality, what is there as real as it is by its nature, which appears, for example, visible object is now appearing. No one can stop the appearance of visible object at all. It's there. But it cannot be taken for anything like people and things at all. It's only that which can be seen. Without the eye base, without conditions, how can it arise? How can it appear? There must be that which sees it, because that which is seen now is not the reality, a reality which now experiencing it. Just the truth until it appear to moment of realizing the truth of that which is now appearing. By conditions, it's so very gradually developed. And the purpose is just to understand the truth as no one and nothing. Is that right? No one and nothing in whatever is there now appearing, no matter through the eye door, ear door, or whatever in life, any moment. It's there only when it's there and then gone. And so many realities just conditioned to just arise and be only that very reality and then gone. Never more at all. And this is true or not. Just just consider the truth. And right understanding it as, yes, it's just right that never lasts at all. Just for a very short moment and then gone. So what's the truth of the world of life from moment to moment? Not only this life, but previous life and future life. Just exactly the same. So it depends on seeing, understanding the benefit of understanding the truth that condition the moment of not understanding it as it is yet. That's why we listen more, consider more, to condition the moment of beginning to let go ignorance and attachment. This is so very subtle because this is the Ariya Satya, the fourth Ariya Satya. No one knows. It's just a moment of having less ignorance and attachment at moment of understanding. So how much misunderstanding, wrong understanding of what is there before this moment, see, uncountable. So the moment to understanding it has to be little by little, gradually. That's why no matter we use the word meditation or what, it's the moment of that which hasn't been a reason at all, because no conditions for thinking, considering about that which is now appearing. But now it's time to think again what is the most valuable moment in life. It is the moment of beginning to see what is the best thing in life, to understand it, what is there, or just follow it, no understanding, and then die, no more memory about what is there at all, from moment to moment in the past and now and future. That's all. That's why understanding the truth, which can be from hearing again and again and again about that. And it is a proof for one's understanding correctly with how much understanding is of that which is now appearing. Not enough yet, because it does not appear as the one, the enlightened one, has thought about it, that it is so very short. Before it's there, it's not there. And after it's that, gone, instantly, unknown. That's right. Is it true? Study each one as it is, closer and closer to that which is now here, there, confronted right now, to understand the truth of it. And this moment is the best moment in samsara, little by little. It can lead to the understanding of the absolute truth of what is there now, as Buddha had enlightened. Anyone can enlighten the truth because no one can change the truth. But what hinders the understanding, ignorance, not hearing the right word, and not understanding the purpose of listening, not to do this, not to experience that, but to understand the truth. And even understanding is not self. It does not belong to anyone at all. And no one can exchange one's understanding with the other at all. By conditions, whatever arises is there. Even the understanding is only the moment when it's conditioned to arise. That's all. And this is true life, real life or not. See, just one's own considering. The most precious moment is the moment of understanding what is there now, little by little, from hearing and seeing the benefit of understanding it. It's different from moment without any understanding. Just little by little, then the development of right understanding, understanding the truth, the value of it is that which is now, this very moment. But it depends on conditions, see. And this is conditioned to have more interest in understanding the truth. Otherwise, not seeing that Life can end at any time, even just right now. And what is after? No understanding of that which is appearing right now, again and again and again. So is it time to see the value of understanding that which is now appearing, which hasn't been understood before as it is? And that is the point of no I, no me, no one. The truth is the truth. Ignorance is ignorance. Understanding is different from ignorance. So just depending on conditions, what condition seeing right now and what condition memory marking what is that right now, what condition feeling right now. Everything is the unknown until Buddha pointed out one by one to understand each one as it is right now. But it depends on conditions for what is the object of experiencing right now. No selection, no choice, because it's there already. Each word, each thought, each seeing, hearing, and so on, all are conditioned reality. Little by little, just to understand. No one at all, no me, but it's there, wishing, wanting, lurking at any moment, which can be known until it's clear that it's there to be eradicated. No matter it's there today, this moment, or any moment in life. Just for the sake of understanding as they are. Right now, they are there by conditions. Who can control anything? It's there already, it's gone already, unknown. Clinging, taking for something which is not as it is. But the truth is the truth. It can be directly experienced and not anyone, but right understanding which develop will just open up little by little the truth which is there as the one who has perfectly enlightened the truth. That it cannot be changed right now, but it's covered up with ignorance, no word, no wise word, no right word to open it up. So the point is to understand the best, the most precious moment in life, any moment, which can understand the truth of that which is now appearing. Otherwise, how can that we say that it's the truth when it's not there? But when it's there, it's true. It's the truth that can be known. So it depends on bhavana in Pali or any word we use, but it's the development of understanding, the truth of it, the absolute truth. Everything is gone. Sunyata, never to return. No one and nothing can belong to anything because actually each whatever now appearing, gone instantly. Is that not true? From the very beginning, hearing about the truth can condition more confidence of the truth to see the value of living this life.
I appreciate what you said, Tanajan, about when there is not the wise words that are heard and obviously considered carefully, then there are no conditions for the development of understanding, or if we like, for meditation or bhavana to be developed.
And when anyone look for the profoundness of the teaching or of the subtlety of a reality, just look for, but this is the subtlety of the development of understanding. See, not the meditation center or the meditation posture or the meditation subject, but the word of the truth of this moment taught by the Buddha. So very subtle that it's not just what people try to do or to have it, but the understanding. No one, just keep each word in mind. No change. Even understanding now is what? No one. It's there by condition. And what does it begin to understand? If it's not now, right now, where's the truth? Only thinking, dreaming again and again about different subjects than before, different ones all the time. But what about now? Right understanding does not deceive. It's so true to the truth. It's there. It's now appearing. But as something as usual, when there's no thought, no careful thinking, considering about what about, it appears only when there is seeing, which sees it, only it and then gone. Both the seeing and the that which is seen, never be there again at all. Just implant that understanding of the truth, be firm and to be more confident of the truth. And this is the development of the path, the Four Noble Truth, the last one, leading to enlighten the truth, the Ariya Satya. See, it has to be only this way. And this is what we say, very subtle, because no one sees it. It's not I who would try and who can do, but it's the moment of understanding that which is hidden long, long time ago. That's why just turn up what is there, turn down, see? And even so many things now, when we are talking about this moment, what are there? It's not just that which appears, and not only that which arises with the moment of experiencing. There are other things too. But whatever does not appear, how can anyone know? But even so, Buddha taught about the details of each moment to know that actually what is there is so very short, and that is there can be seen. But what about the other moments of chittas, the experiencing before seeing and after seeing? They are there by conditions. Who know? From his teaching, right understanding, begin to study carefully about the truth, the cause, and the result. There must be citta. Now we can talk about citta. We can use the word citta because we understand now what we mean by citta. The citta before seeing cannot see. The citta after seeing cannot see. See, but Buddha taught about the process of before seeing can arise, which hasn't arisen before, until there are conditions for whatever is there to arise, but depending on whether it appears or not. So one can compare one's right understanding and wisdom to the highest one, much different, that's all. So listen and right understanding is so used to understand that actually, even hearing so much, not just in this life, but in many, many lives, it's not enough to let go the idea of self until panya develops to let go so that what is now covering the truth can be less and less, so it can open up, reveal itself as it is for sure. Because of panya, learn to understand that even right now, there's not just seeing, there is also like or dislike, attachment, and that which is like I becoming, life, living, existence, and in time, see? So much to learn to understand, to let go, just to let go. And this is the right path. so subtle, that is so natural. All depends on understanding and letting go. When it's not understanding, it cannot let go. But when there is understanding, right understanding, understand how much clinging to wrong understanding and not letting go. So in a moment of understanding, what is that? Little by little, until it's strong enough so that there's no hinder to hinder the truth. It appears to that which understanding it as it is. Right now, touching, see, gone. Hardness gone. What about seeing, hearing? By conditions, it's there to be known, not as to change it, but to be known that it is conditioned just to arise in a day when it's not night, when it's not fast asleep. Each moment is conditioned. So just understanding the point of listening to the word of truth, to be able to understand the truth little by little. And there are which is not understanding in a day, so many things. There can be doubt, there can be conceit, there can be anger, whatever is there, not known at all. Even right now, ignorance, see, not understanding what? Unknown. Until hearing about the truth of this moment, beginning to see that it's a matter of panya, no one at all. The development of understanding, little by little, can develop to the degree that it can understand what is there as it's heard and taught, the truth about it. Just this moment and other moment of hearing again, consider again, being reminded to understand what is there again. It can be this moment of just aware of hardness, see, and then gone. It doesn't matter. See, whatever is there. To know the truth, how much ignorance and how much clinging. And panya, right understanding, knows the truth. That's all. Little by little. So very little by little. So it's very subtle because it's so natural by conditions. See, only this moment gone until hearing, considering, developing to understand the truth. And then gone, understanding that whatever is there is not permanent. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. Develop little by little.
Achanka, I'd like to hear from you a comment that was made, and it goes like, before there can be thinking, there has to be the reality arisen already. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yes. Now, what are you thinking about?
Everything. Lots and lots of things.
Yes, just one by one, please.
Well, I was thinking about when I'm listening to you, my mind goes off. Sometimes I just miss words because my mind goes off somewhere else.
What do you think about that which is heard, right?
I think about that which is heard, yes.
Think about that which is seen, right?
Yes.
So this is the answer.
So you're saying it has to be heard and it has to be seen first before there's thinking about it.
We cannot find out the first one in samsara. But what is there now? Can condition moment of understanding how it goes. Very
Right.
complex by conditions, not only one condition, see? Otherwise, how can there be that letting go of the clinging to that which appears? This is the difference, much difference between ignorance and understanding. Ignorance cannot understand the truth of what is there. It sees what seeing sees. It shares the same object. It experiences the same object as seeing, even it does not see. And it cannot understand the truth until right understanding, right word, begin to be considered little by little to understand the truth. Doesn't it's there by its arising? If it does not arise, how can it be there? No matter what, ignorance or right understanding or clinging or hatred or whatever is there, it has to be there when it has a reason. Otherwise, how can it be there? And no one can condition anything at all. No one. It means absolutely, actually, they are only realities. See, when we use this word, it's so real, but no one can make it rise. It has its own nature, each one, by conditions. Beginning to understand each moment as it's there by conditions can lessen less and less the idea of self, little by little, very gradually. And this is the path leading to understand what is there, which cannot be covered up by ignorance, because right understanding begin to open it just little by little until it really open up, show up as it is.
And Zita, I think what you're particularly asking about is, say, you mentioned wandering off. So if one is listening to the discussion, but also thinking about, for example, what one is going to do tomorrow, you're wondering how that is related to thinking that is requires the experiencing of a reality first. Is that right? Would that be right?
It was kind of like that, but I think it more relates to the rapidity of all of the happenings, because I might be listening and understanding what's being said, and then, as you said, the mind goes off. So there's obviously thinking of things that have happened, and that just comes in. It can come in anytime. So thinking, and then there's this train of thought that goes off somewhere else, totally uncontrollable, which I think is a good pointer. And then the other day I was thinking about all of this, that I think I was kind of in one of those moods. Well, we just go on and on. But it occurred to me that, well, I guess I was wondering, well, how do you not, or how, for example, you're attached to stuff, but as Panya grows more and more, Panya obviously sees that moment that has arisen has gone already. And it's because we don't see that we're so attached to our thinking, our family, blah, blah. And that if there is the Panya that really, really knows those moments that arise and disappear, never to return, as we're told, then obviously the ignorance is becoming less and less, and along with attachment to things that have gone already. So it was a long train of thought, but it was just something that thinking, I guess I just needed a bit of clarification, that you have to, the realities have to arise and be seen or heard or whatever to for the thinking to follow on.
And it's
but-
all still the story about something and someone and what I'm attached to and my thinking. But actually, it's like in a dream at night. If there'd not been seeing and hearing, there wouldn't be all sorts of crazy thoughts about what was seen and what was heard. And it's like that now. Moments of seeing, moments of hearing, and then thinking by accumulated habits, all sorts of ideas about what's seen or what's heard. Just visible objects seen, and then instantly this long story about Tadao and his hand movements or something like this. But actually, it's just visible object. But without the visible object, no conditions to think like that.
Yes. And there was also something that came up. Alberto wrote, I think Sundara might have mentioned it before, that if we take me for self, you know, as we do because there's not enough understanding, then we also take others for self and others for what they are. For example, the family turned up at the weekend, and that's always a little chaotic. And, you know, because they are family, there's attachment and there's some chaos going in some of the family. And I was like, I get caught up in it. I want to be able to help. But when I read that this morning, I realized I can listen to what's being said by them and I can support, but I don't feel like I can change their situation. Yeah.
There was a comment last week when Roti was talking about helping others. So according to the understanding, one helps the best one can, but it's not a matter of having expectations or being optimistic, because that's just clinging again. When it's being realistic to understand the truth now. So one has no idea what will happen for anyone, because there are just dharmas arising by conditions. No matter what we call them or what we call me, who knows whether understanding will arise next moment.
Yeah, trying to help others. It was also, there was an incident I think I wrote on DSG about being with some friends doing some work for a tree nursery. And there was a lot of discussion about the state of the world and the state of the, you know, the state of the planet, politics, society. And I remember my little addition was, look, if we have compassion and loving kindness for people, and you know, the society would be better. But that got quickly brushed aside by, you know, 3 or 4 people all talking at once with their own ideas. And I thought, if we kind of like-minded people can't agree on little items, how can people who are totally different culturally and racially and everything? I just came to the conclusion that day that there would never be peace or, you know, happiness in the world. There are bits here and there, but generally it's a battle.
There will always be ignorance and attachment.
Yes, exactly.
And aversion.
Yeah.
And so I remember at this time, people have reminded me that of the Papatūpan Sutta, when King Pasenadi came to see the Buddha, and he had been behaving, you know, in kingly ways which were not appropriate. He had been putting people to death, apparently, and he was rather upset about what had happened, and he went to see the Buddha. And the Buddha gave him that amazing discourse about the nature of death, you know, that it's unavoidable, you can't avoid it. And then I won't obviously go into all of it, but I think it's a wonderful sutta. I sometimes think about it. But in the end, he said to King Pasenadi, "What can you do, O great king, but walk in the path of Dhamma?" That is their only option. You know, I know that sometimes there are horrible things that happen in the world. There are very cruel things that happen to others. And I'm sure the Buddha obviously knew what King Pasenadi had done, but he never commented to him. He never pointed the finger at him. He just said, "What can you do, O great king, but but walk in the path of Dhamma. And I'm sure that is the wisest thing that any of us can do during times when of family tumult or upset or worry or even happiness, of course. You know, what can we do but walk in the path of Dhamma?
Yeah, good comment, Sundra, because, you know, again, there's a lot of wild birds come around where I live, and I throw seed out and they all come around, but one of them will take it into its head, I want all this for myself, and it rushes around with its beak stuck out, chasing everyone else away. And there's nothing I can do about that, even though I've thrown the seed out. But just 2 or 3 of them want it, and the others all get chased away. So it's the same in the human realm, isn't it? Somebody wants something and they'll shoot someone else for it. Yeah, so that's a good sutta. Thanks.
But I think ultimately it's just this moment. I mean, is there interested in listening or even considering the Dhamma now while talking about so many things? And so even in any situation with your family or anyone, there's always a Dhamma to arising. So it depends on our understanding and interest to understand whatever appears at that moment.
The idea that things need to change is very deeply rooted. And likewise, the idea that we can do anything about changing things anyway. So that keeps coming back. But as we are reminded so often here, the best thing that can be done is the development of understanding or other kinds of kusala at any moment where they might arise.
That's interesting, Jonathan, because yes, occasionally it might occur to me, look, there's just this moment.
Yeah, good.
And then sometimes I start to be a bit selfish because feeling, why don't they understand what I'm saying? Or can I help them this way? But
That's what it is.
no, they're involved in their own stuff. So I guess if we can't help ourselves, then we can't help others, really. Yeah.
I mean, Zita, just now Achan was talking about hindrance to hearing and considering the Dhamma. So that's the hindrance when we have expectations and we're thinking at that moment, that's the hindrance. It's not out there, it's right now. We have our own attachments, and that's the hindrance.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, it's also a good reminder, just as we're used to thinking we can fix our own situation and we can fix others. Like this morning, a friend was telling me about the problem she has. She'd left her husband and she was having another relationship, and now her daughters aren't speaking to her. And it was kind of tempting to say, well, you know, what about being kinder to your daughters and husband and so on, and what do you expect? But actually, what about the truth now? Because when there's more understanding of the truth now, the thinking now, the worry now, then it works its way. It works its way in one's lifestyle. There is more confidence in what is wholesome, more confidence in what is kusala, more understanding of the danger of just clinging to sense pleasures and thinking of oneself as usual. So whether we're talking to others or just for life now, it has to come back to the understanding at this moment. And that's why I think the more understanding, the more it helps to, or it knows how to help others around as well, not just trying to fix the situation.
Yes, I was just going to add that none of this means that one can't or shouldn't think about ways of helping other people and doing one's best. I mean, there's just another, it all depends on one's accumulations. Some will be more inclined to think about that and to to do something positive than others. And one isn't saying that that shouldn't be done or there shouldn't be that kind of thinking. But overall, even for those who have that accumulation, that tendency, the best kind of thought is the thought with kusala at any moment.
So what you're saying, John, is that we usually associate helping, I mean, not associate, but the idea of helping is associated with attachment, but there is also helping with kusala chittas.
Well, kusala citta by definition is beneficial to oneself and others. So any moment of kusala is beneficial for the rest of the world as well as oneself. Non-harmful, it's a thought moment of non-harmful thinking.
And I imagine that with the, helping others with kusala citta, I was thinking helping others with develop panya and with paramis, that your whole demeanor, the whole demeanor would be different. There'd be less trying to tell them what to do and just being, I don't know, I'm just imagining this, but being softer in your approach to others, perhaps.
I agree with that, Zita. I think sometimes just listening is very valuable. Just to listen with, as Johnson said, with kusala citta. We can't ultimately fix the other people. That can't be done. We're very tempted sometimes to try and think that we can fix it, but this is being a bit unrealistic sometimes. And to have kusala by way of listening, I think it's what people value a lot. They might necessarily say that, but I think they do. And it's easy to forget about. It is what it is ultimately, and we can be very tempted because of our own idea. And I guess this goes back to the idea of meditation. We feel this, we have to do something. It's a very tempting thing, of course, and it's a habit that we have accumulated, but it may not always be helpful to do something. And and I think of the Buddha said to King Pasendi, to walk on the path of Dhamma, that is always a safe path to go. And of course, the Buddha must be alluding to kusala, and ideally the path that appears, which we often and mostly forget about.
Well, I was actually thinking more of the fact that the society depends on those who do care for others. You were a nurse, Azita, and there are social workers and many kinds of occupation that involve actually caring for, looking after, trying to help other people. And one isn't for one moment suggesting that that is not a valid line of work to do, profession or interest. So whether it's as done as one's job or just as one's nature, it doesn't matter. That one is not saying don't try to help other people. It all depends on accumulated tendencies. But behind it all is the understanding that the best moment is the moment of kusala.
Yes, well said. Thank you.
Tana Jankap, I imagine that at times different people come to see you and ask them about what to do in this or that situation. What are you inclined to say sometimes?
Sorry, I didn't turn on the phone. Just like now, see, anything, anytime to understand the truth. It seems like we're talking about people and things and friends and family and events, but actually, what is there is always forgotten. No one even thinking about the others at that moment, having heard about realities as no one at all, but it's not firm enough to be such moment of thinking about things and people. And at that moment, Panya can begin to see the difference. Moment of hearing about the truth and moment of forgetting about the truth again and again. But actually, it is just a moment of different object, different moment. That's all. Keep on hearing about this. It can condition moment of no matter what is there. We do not force not having it arise or do not try to have it arise, but it's there already, but no understanding, lack of understanding. So the point is that can there be conditions to understand that very moment as we have heard? That is moment of thinking, as seeing and hearing, see, the same question answered, but because not understand the way it is and think that it's different from moment of this moment, but actually each moment is the same. It just conditioned to arise to be such and then gone. So they are quite different, never be the same at all. And when there is a little more understanding of this, no matter what is the object or the topic, what we are talking about, it's there by conditions. Just to understand that it's by conditions and it's there and gone. That is the whole truth, the complete truth of whatever is there at any time. But since there are so much ignorance and clinging, that's why we take that situation as someone and something and I, but actually exactly the same. No I and no one, and that moment cannot be controlled. It has to be conditioned such for different people, different moment. Only that's all. And in life, no more. Just a moment ago, as we have experienced, is gone completely. And keep on recall it, thinking about it again. But what about this moment? That's why before there can be the understanding directly of that which is now appearing, it takes quite a long time. And it has to be the development of understanding only to see no regret because that's gone. And this is the way to understand how much understanding of the truth of no one and no self. Just like now, anytime about any topic, exactly the same. All depends on understanding. That's why no matter the bhikkhu in the Buddha's time walked around with arms, they heard it and they saw many things. They are dhammas. Is that right? Just begin to have firm confidence. It has to be just that, even right now, or even any moment, talking about anything, whatever is there, by conditions. This is the way to have confidence of the truth, to condition higher understanding about that which is now begin to appear as object. Because while we're talking about seeing, there is seeing, but not enough conditions to understand seeing as just nothing besides that which is seen and that which experiences it. See, it's not that level yet, but it's the beginning to understand the truth. It has to be whatever is there in just a moment. That's all, no matter what. And this shows that Panya is strong enough because Panya is not afraid of any object because it can understand the truth of it. See, whatever will arise by conditions, Panya understand that. It can understand the moment when it's there and the moment when it's not there, no regret. But it has to begin with understanding little by little, firmer and firmer about this truth. That's why we don't mind what would someone do or say about us or whatever is there. Gone completely. And it shows a little more confidence of the truth, more and more and more and more, until reality appears, because now it appears, but not as it is, because of ignorance only and attachment. But when it's less ignorance and attachment, it becomes to be object, that which is now. For example, attachment or aversion, which arises very soon after seeing and hearing and so on, but it does not appear. It arises and gone very, very rapidly. No time to understand it until right understanding is there. There it is. Even it's so very subtle, it can show up as it's there. But I is there until it's not I. Right understanding develops enough to understand it as just a moment. It's gone, just a reality. Whatever is there as reality, conditioned to arise and then falls away. Exactly the same. All dhammas, anicca, dukkha, anatta. And this is the way to have less attachment to the idea of self and taking it for people and things.
Janka, I appreciated what you said just a moment ago about Panya is not fearful about the object that appears.
At all, when it's right understanding. Otherwise, how can it understand when it's fearful? It's not Panya. But Panya is so brave, very courageous to understand the truth, no matter how strong it is, akusla or kusla. See? Otherwise, there can be moment of attaining the truth, which is no one at all. Only that its characteristic. That's why we just talk about the characteristic of each reality right now, to be known, to begin to understand, even intellectually, that it's not there anymore. It cannot be taken for anything. But little by little, Panya can develop to the degree it can let go, and then understanding the moment of direct awareness with understanding, which has been heard and developed enough to understand it directly with direct awareness. Little by little, no one. The point is to understand to the end, from the very beginning, no me, no one, and nothing. And when this is developing, it's so natural. Whatever is there by conditions, even right now, no matter we take it for people and things, it's only thinking. Without thinking, can it be something or someone, because it's only seen and heard and then gone? And this is the point of listening to the truth, to understand the absolute truth, to experience directly in order to have no doubt about it until the moment of enlighten the truth, the Four Noble Truth. Very natural right now, just like now. So Panya does not select the place or the object or the time at all. Whatever is now is conditioned. no matter what, and then gone. Useless to regret, useless to think about it, to change it, because it's impossible to arise again. But it can condition next moment. We don't know when. Right understanding, right attitude, right thinking about whatever is there as situation. Even the idea of I can be known as a moment of wrong understanding. Otherwise, that cannot be eradicated completely, not of anything at all, no matter when. See, no hurry at all. It's impossible to try, because that is done or motivated by attachment and ignorance again.
And I was thinking too, Tanajan, you were just mentioning a moment ago about Panya does not select. And we were talking at the beginning about meditation. And of course, so much of that is about selecting. So it's always helpful and useful to be reminded that Panya does not select.
So the meditation center and any other way is not the path leading to understand this moment at all. It hinders instantly, on and on and on. That's why the path is so very subtle. It has to be right understanding of that which is now appearing, from hearing, considering, and letting go. Wrong idea, wrong thinking about it. Less and less, so it can appear naturally, unnothingness. Suddenly, no one can control, actually no one. Each one appears clearly as it is. That which is seen, see, does not appear as anything at all. In a moment, different from moment after seeing, thinking about shape and form, see, of sensor, different sound, the sound of music, Thai music, Chinese music, or whatever has its own, what we think about, what is made by shape and form, not just only that which can be seen, but the quality, the difference of each one has its own shape and form in the sense of sound or smell, to be known as different ones. So all depends on understanding the words of the truth. It's so true. And understanding what's meant by the Buddha, the enlightenment, the teachings of the enlightened one, see, from understanding only.
That's why even the questions, what to do or how can I, shows wrong understanding, and why the Buddha would always bring the listener back to this moment and seeing now, hearing now, the realities that arise and pass away now to be understood, because only through the understanding of dhammas as not self can there be the understanding that it's not a matter of what can I do or how can I do it, or should I go there or should I come here. So it's always back to this moment and understanding now. And sometimes people have the idea of what I shouldn't do. They think I shouldn't wear colorful clothes, or I shouldn't go to the beach, or I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. It's the same misunderstanding, not understanding about the reality right now.
I mean, shouldn't and should is the same thing exactly. Shouldn't this means should something else?
You know, that's a good point, Sarah. You know, often people think about the shoulds and they forget about the shouldn'ts. and how that can also hinder the development of panya. Yeah, it's a good point.
I shouldn't have fun. I shouldn't go on a holiday. I shouldn't have possessions in my house. It's all the same wrong understanding about I.
I think you're reading my thoughts again, Sarah. But I was thinking about that thing, you know, because the family, as I said, they were here at the weekend. It's still in my mind what went on. And I've been thinking, here's another should, rather than thinking I could help them, it's probably more beneficial to think, well, it's just accumulations. It's the way they are. Each individual, you know, it's the way things are, and probably, of course, panya would probably be more beneficial for all concerned. But again, only by conditions, as we know.
And as Ajahn just reminded us, in truth, no family, no friends. It's just thinking now, thinking about, oh, my family and their accumulations and my friends and the birds out there. So it just shows the way of thinking at this moment, according to what has been seen and heard. So the accumulation to be understood is always right now, the thinking now, thinking with clinging, thinking with ignorance right now.
Well, I'm reminded of something that Ajahn has said in the past, and that is we do the best we can and leave it to conditions. And I think that is as much as one can say, because even what, Azita, you were just saying about one should just think that that's the way they are, or something like that, is another idea of a should or a shouldn't. So we have to, I mean, they are the way they are by conditions, and we are the way we are by conditions. So the inclination to do this or do that, or think of helping in a certain way or not wanting to help in a certain way, is also conditioned reality. So it just comes back again to, I think the way Ajahn has put it is a very good summary, understood correctly, of course. One does the best one can, and then it's up to conditions. And the best may be nothing. The best, the best one can at a certain moment might not be much at all. That doesn't matter. That's the way it is.
Make morning tea, feed them.
We can talk
Ajahn,
about anything, but there is understanding that whatever is there is conditioned to have more confidence of no one there, the way it is by conditions, different ideas, different thinking and so on, is there already. So the truth is that no one can make it arise, and the benefit is the understanding the truth, which is the path to understanding it as no one and nothing, no matter what kind of thinking or thought is there, whatever is there, by conditions already. Just keep on understanding that it is as it is, only at that very moment, and then gone. This is not firm enough because we have heard many, many times, many, many days, years, but it implanted little by little about the truth, not go away from this moment, because it's only the actual moment of reality which is there, so very short. That's why it's very difficult to understand the characteristic which is there as it is, because it's so short. But it's always, all the time, like seeing. See, seeing a moment, very short, but it's there to be known, to be studied, to begin to understand it as just it's conditioned. Even seeing is conditioned. So what about thinking after seeing? Conditioned too. That's why There are so many different things, many different people, never be the same, even in just one person. Each moment is gone, and then new one, always next and next and next, and new and new and new, never be the same. And beginning to see, is it better not to just have it arises and gone all the time as it is right now, before it can be that moment of seeing the danger of the useless of just arise and falls away. There has to be the idea of what is there as it is. Otherwise, it's so very pleasant to cling or to dislike and so on in a day, all the time, by conditions. Always by conditions is there, unknown, until there is the moment of understanding the truth. Is that I? Is that thing? Or is that which appears? And when it's not there, it is not there. Only memory, remember that is there. But actually, where is it? No matter what now we are thinking, where is it? When we talk about COVID, where is it? See? So what is the truth? Seeing, hearing, and then thinking about such and such, and then going and thinking again about other things instantly all the time. Keeps on rolling on, flooded on and on and on by ignorance and attachment. The whole life, from life to life, just like this. When Panya is not firm enough, it cannot see the danger of that which just no more, only when it appears and it's gone. That's why I keep on thinking about the words of the teaching, the simile about whatever he taught to understand the truth, just like whatever and on and on. For people to begin to think about it carefully, wisely, whether it's worthwhile to know the truth, because the truth is so true that it cannot be changed now. It has to be just now as it is, no more. A moment ago it's gone, see. But without understanding, how can there be the moment of understanding the difference between the object which is experienced from moment to moment? So it seems that they are there, no matter what is heard and seen and thought about. But actually, just in the moment, without that very moment, where are what we are thinking about as it's still there. So all depends on the moment right now to understand the truth. It's gone. No matter what we are thinking in such a way, by conditions, that's all. Otherwise, we're so afraid to have such thought of thinking. But Panya is so very brave, courageous enough to understand it. Not me, it's gone. Why regret? What for? Useless, useless, useless. So one can understand the difference between the usefulness and the uselessness. Who can help? Only hearing, considering, understanding only. That's why there are right understanding and wrong understanding. Ignorance not understand the truth, and right understanding begin to understand what's true and what is not true. Right now. Before it can be right now, it needs more words of the truth to condition moment of just now can be known. As it taught and experienced by the enlightened one. So very little, but it's the beginning of understanding what is there as it is in a day, in life, in a moment. Otherwise, no time to understand the truth at all. Obsessed by clinging, attachment, ignorance, flooded to other objects from moment to moment.
And a Jan Cup. I always appreciate how you remind us how precious and valuable Dhamma is. You know, it's a great blessing.
Because it's so true. Most beautiful thing is the truth. Never lie. At moment when one tries or hurry to understand, it's wrong. Completely. Never understand what's meant by Dhamma or Anatta or Sunyata. It's time for whatever arises, for right understanding or ignorance, or thinking about the truth, or just being aware by conditions. And understanding develops from very little until it's a little more, until it's full grown, until it can directly experience the truth right now, naturally. And this is the subtlety of reality, which is the unknown, because so very deep to be known. Only right understanding can reach it.
And Achan, it seems that in other situations, as for example, what Azita was describing, the trying to help other people and all that is not as harmful as someone hearing the Dhamma and thinking about doing something, trying to do and going to meditate. The first one is nothing to do with corrupting the Dhamma, it's just one's own ignorance and attachment, whereas the second one is also destroying the Dhamma, isn't it?
Where are they?
Just in the thinkings.
Only. And what conditions such thinking?
Ignorance at times.
And the idea of self, and people and things all the time. Clinging is so very, very subtle. No one knows the moment when it clings to such and such. Only Panya can understand that. It's not understanding, but it clings. It changes its object from oneself to other and to story about anything, not understanding that actually what is there, the reality which experiences the object right there by conditions. That's why Buddha taught again and again and again, no matter who came to him, about what is there, whether it's permanent or not, and what conditions what. Without saying, can they be thinking about people and things and situations and so on, and what is there? For them to consider the truth which appears at that very moment only, to know that how much ignorance is there, and there's no way at all. Just be truthful to the truth. The truth is the truth. It's there by conditions. This is the moment to implant the confidence of the truth that can grow. And this is the way to understand what it's meant by detachment, letting go. At moment of understanding the truth, which is so very, very subtle. The only way is the only way. No one sees it. Just think about oneself to understand such and such. Forget all the time about no one and no thing, because what is there as it is. Seeing cannot hear, and thinking cannot see. So true. Who can change the truth?
And the tendency accumulates and accumulates. Like a friend wrote to me who remembers a Jan from a long time ago, and her husband passed away a year or so ago. And she said that she's racked with guilt and regret, which Jan mentioned, and her whole mind is in turmoil, thinking about how she was a bad wife, wasn't a good wife to her husband. And she's obsessed with this thinking. So it's always thinking about me and my family, my friends, and lost in the whole story with more regret and more turmoil and more trauma. So it may not be teaching wrong Dharma, but this is life at this moment without understanding, like the people who came to the Buddha who were totally distraught because of having lost family members and totally obsessed with the thought about the lost ones. So it's so dangerous, that ignorance and clinging and wrong understanding, because it just accumulates on and on, causing more and more disturbance and difficulty in life. Always thinking that the problem is something else, someone else, the friends, the family, how I behaved when I was young and so on, but not understanding about life at this moment. And it's really like the removing of the burden when there is a little more glimmer, a little more understanding now. Like when I reminded the friend that whatever's gone is gone, and what about the understanding now? Immediately, she felt better. Immediately one feels better just for a moment, just until there's more misunderstanding.
We talk a lot about accumulations, and I've often got this idea that accumulations are these static things that are there and will arise when the conditions, but accumulations, for example, if there's a lot of attachment in a day, there's accumulating more attachment. So maybe, you know, there's a little bit attachment to something, for example, me feeding these wild birds. But I've got to the point where I haven't bought seed for them for a while because I can't stand watching them fight with each other. But can we talk a little bit about accumulations and how, I mean, we've all got different sets of accumulations, but those accumulations aren't static, are they? They change, or they grow or disappear. What?
And it's now also, it's the clinging now, the wise considering now, the ignorance now. So the accumulation's always at this moment, not my accumulations over so many years, but it's the reality at this very moment.
My accumulations in the back cupboard, they just pop out every so often, but it's now, isn't it? You're right.
It's right now, and the clinging and the ignorance haven't been eradicated, so it's now and now again and again.
Yeah.
And it's not my accumulation or anyone's accumulation, it's just those habits that arise again and again because the nusias haven't been eradicated.
And we're you know, the more that those particular accumulations arise, the way things are done, the more that we continue to do the same thing.
And Azita, excuse me, those accumulations relate to different sankharas, or the different cetasikas, essentially. The actually word sankhara can literally be translated as those things which are made up, or we use the word accumulations, but I think it can be helpful to realize they're just different sankharas that arise, as Thea has alluded to, from moment to moment. Some things that are just being made all the time. They're not, you know, I'm sure you realize this anyway, that they're just heaping up from moment to moment, whether they be attachment or different levels of aversion or different levels or different types of thinking that we have from moment to moment.
And even the thinking
Because
of
the
ignorance
reminder
now
of-
about my accumulations or the other accumulations, that's it. The thinking is real. The thinking now is the accumulation, because in truth it's not my accumulations or the others, but the thinking that there is, thinking that it's this way or that way, that is the habit at this very moment.
And the
Clinging to this
reminder that
idea of-
the accumulations are jeta seekers. So that's good. There's the sankharas.
For a moment and then gone.
Gone,
Each
yeah.
moment the clinging arises and then gone. That accumulation is just for a moment and then gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Conditioning, another moment of clinging and then gone, but it's not my clinging or my story or my way of behavior.
Or my accumulations in this drawer here. Thank you.
Ajahn, can you say something about Sankhara Khanda?
It's from the very beginning. Nothing can arise without that which condition it. Right? This is the meaning of sankhara. No matter what, there must be conditions for its arising by way of different kind or aspect of conditions, like phassa is ahara paccaya and so on. But we don't have to name it or call it. Understanding it, and then after the hearing about it, there can be the understanding that it's what we're talking about or what we have talked about it already. Sahachata paccaya, see, arise together. That's the nature of that, which condition each other to arise, to experience an object or ayatana. So the most important thing is not clinging or trying to remember or find out the meaning of the word, but to understand the reality which is as it taught about it. For example, Dhamma, see, understand it as no one at all. But it's real, it's there, but there must be conditions for its arising. Otherwise, nothing can arise at all. And this relate to any subject we're talking about, any happenings, remembering, understanding that it's conditioned, quite a relief. No one can do anything, all depends on conditions. No matter pleasant or unpleasant events, see, by condition, just in a moment. The most important thing is that it's not there anymore. It's gone completely, never to return. That's why it's wrong to take it for someone or me or thing. That's quite wrong. The understanding can understanding the truth. And so it develops by hearing as no one. We are talking about seeing, not my seeing or anyone seeing, but we are talking about seeing. And when we talk about that which contact, we don't talk about seeing, but begin to understand it. How can it be taken for I can do or it's me? Because it depends on phassa to see what even right now, to understand the details of that which is now appearing closer in order to understand the moment of seeing right now. Before there can be conditions to understand directly of that which is now appearing, it needs more and more intellectual understanding to develop such understanding firm enough to be there, not to go away, not to think about other things, not to be flooded. See, to understand that which is there, even if it's so short, it doesn't matter at all, as long as it's there to be known as different ones, different nimitta. See, just to understand, no matter what, very easy, very simple, very pleasant, just to understand. It does not disturb. It does not disturb. It doesn't harm at all. It's just a conditioned moment of relax and relief. No one there. It's gone. See, This is the way to develop right understanding, to let go the accumulation of self and wrong understanding with attachment to whatever is there, even right now, unknown. See? That's why to consider the truth of the word of truth, to understand that it's so true, that it cannot be changed. That's why there can be more and more firm understanding of no one, just to understand one. No matter what people are talking about, they are talking about what they think, what they've seen, what they remember, but actually it's only a moment of experience, such and such reality, very short and then gone. So life is easy. No one can do anything, but it's there already to be object of understanding. Otherwise, no word can lead to that understanding at all, even right now, in front of us. So close is there. Nothing is closer than that which is now appearing. So we can talk about anything and understand that what is that? Thinking is not seeing. Different accumulation, condition, different idea and thought. That's all. See, it doesn't harm at all. It doesn't hurt, but it knows the truth. No one. So even pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, disturbed, are all different dhammas. No one at all. And the point is that when it's true, it's true. And the absolute truth is actually nothing is permanent. Whatever is now appearing is gone. The truth is this moment, which can be directly penetrated to the way it is right now. But it has to be letting go the idea of self and wrong understanding and ignorance so that it can appear as it is. Only today, developed panya to different degrees, which can experience the truth different degrees. Right now, it has to be right now. Otherwise, how can it be known if it's not now? Even thinking about other things, that is true, is conditioned. It's the moment of understanding one's own accumulation and also the other's accumulation, and of that which is not that which experiences as it is. Different ones all the time. And this is what we take for the world. But actually, they are only different dhammas, different conditioned reality by different conditions too. Only that, this moment, gone. There can be idea about this and that, but it's conditioned to think that way, not to stop it, but to understanding it as just no one by conditions. If no experiences of that at all, how can it condition such thinking about what we are thinking now? So the truth is in front, anytime, anywhere. It's there, unknown, until it's known, little by little. So there's no doubt about how long will it take to understand the truth, which is there. So very short. But still, it can be directly understood only to the developed panya, bhavana. That's why it's one of the kusala kamapata, better than any kind of kusala, because it can penetrate the truth of that which is now, arises and falls away, never to return. Otherwise, there cannot be the eradication of the idea of self and ignorance, which takes it for I or thing, all the time, from life to life. It has to be like this every moment, every day, every life, depending on conditions. Even right now, when there's no panya, no conditions, but when there is panya, it's there. Who make it arise? No one. It's there already. And actually, from enlightenment, right understanding, penetrate the truth that it's not there anymore. Without such understanding, it's impossible to let go the idea of permanent thing and self. That's why we can talk about anything, because they are our reality when it has its characteristic, which can be known as it is real. It's a reality. It cannot be taken for anything like I or things at all.
And this is the courage that you mentioned last week, Anne, the courage when there is the letting go just for a moment of someone or friends or family or something, just understanding that there are only dharmas right now. So courage has to be there with understanding to let go of that idea of self, and for that understanding to accumulate.
Yes, that was a very helpful discussion. John, I have a question. I don't even know if it's a question, but I've been thinking a lot today about experiencing. What is experiencing? And for a while I was quite stuck. I mean, this is all thinking, I know, but I know seeing, the citta that sees, experiences visible object. What does that really mean?
Is there anything seen now?
Yes.
So, what sees it? Without that which experience or sees it, can it appear as is there?
No.
That which is seen. Even just one word is so very, very deep, because it's hidden, the innermost is there. We just think about the object which is seen, heard, and so on. But without that which experiences such object, how can it appear? Even just very simple question. How can anything appear?
It can't.
Does a tree see? Does it think? Does it like? It
No.
cannot experience at all. So there must be the reality, which no one thought about it before at all. That is there from birth to death. Otherwise, there cannot be that which is seen and heard and thought about at all. So it's hidden quite a long, long time ago about its nature, because it is not white or black, sweet or bitter, pleasant look or not. But it's just that which arises in experience. This is the point. To get closer to the truth of this moment, there must be a reality which arises, otherwise it is not there. And why does it arise? And how can we know that it's there? Because there is seeing. There is not only that which is seen, there must be the reality which sees as well, but no thought about it, not thinking, not imagining at all about even the word or what it is. Nama, see, what does it mean? Just the word. The experiencing, just the word. But the characteristic is there, which arises, otherwise it cannot see, and that object cannot be seen at all. It's there to be known as it's conditioned to be such, not that which is seen, but that which sees. That's why the first vipassana jnana is nama, rupa, paricetta jnana. Not just remember the meaning of the word, but the reality, the characteristic of that which is now experienced from birth to death. Different moment, different reality, different object by condition, see. Understand from the very beginning about what is there now. It is any moment just like this. Without that which experiences, how can there be anything appearing right now? No matter sound, see, we change from that which is seen to sound which is heard. Who knows that it's there as such sound, not other sound, but be clear of its characteristic, whether it's soft or harsh, or sweet or not sound, see. But that which experiences is there. It arises just to perform the function of experience, the characteristic of the object clear that is there. Soft pink or very red, see, everything which is there can be known by that characteristic, which is the chief of experiencing, just experience the object which is now appearing. Even there, it's hidden. That's why the word of the truth, dig it up to be known, to develop the understanding that there must be a characteristic which is real, which is now experiencing. So whatever is there is the object of such experience. No matter it is sound, different from that which is seen, smell, different from sound, and seen, see. But it's there. Is it not real? And it cannot be taken for anything because no one can make it different. And there are many characteristics. There is like, dislike of the object which it experiences. But the experiencing is different. The chief one of experiencing the characteristic cannot like because its function, its characteristic, nobody can change. It's just that which arises to experience as the chief of experiencing, while the other reality, which we learn to understand it also experiences, but it's not the chief one. It's just after that, together with the moment of experiencing, it likes or dislikes the characteristic of that which is experienced. It cannot be just like that, which is just the chief of experiencing, but it likes, it is attached, or it get angry about that object which is unpleasant, but all by conditions in the day. That's why Buddha taught about what is there and what condition such and such different realities to be known as it is, whether it's true or not. And when it is true, right understanding begin to understand what is true, what is real, and what is not real, and what is not true. The idea about that which is seen is not moment of seeing. Begin to understand different things in life. All are dhammas, all are real, but all are unknown until there is the hearing moment of different words which can lead to the understanding of that which it represents. For example, hearing, see, sound is heard. No idea that sound is heard, it's there already. But how can it be there? While before that, no sound at all. So there must be the reality which arises and experience sound. And we call that different from that which experiences visible object because they are conditioned by different conditions and then gone. The truth is that no understanding of the nature of that which is now as it is. That's why we need the enlightened one's word to help to condition the understanding, to think, to consider whether it's true or not. And right understanding can understand the truth, what is not right and what is right. No one there at all. Beginning to implant the understanding of no one. This is the way to listen to the truth of no one and nothing until it can appear as it is. Different stages of understanding.
Thank you.
It's now, any moment.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Jan. We can continue next time. Satika.